I'm Danny Wallace, and this is Be Inspired. Be Inspired is a safe place to have conversations that matter. We bring the very best speakers to you, and also the very best in edutainment, where we entertain and educate at the same time. This event is for businesses that are ready to get gloriously uncomfortable as we show up, wise up and rise up together.
Everyone has really got each other's backs.
What Danny's created, second to none. Nobody else is doing this.
I've cried or had, several aha moments in every one of the talks today.
Be Inspired is genuinely one of the most amazing things that I've ever done.
They have made me feel part of the community.
But everybody has just seemed to embrace me, and people talk to me like they've known me for years.
It's been really nice meeting different people, and everybody's just been so lovely.
This isn't an event for women, it's for people in business, and that energy and that inclusivity has been reflected throughout.
There's nowhere else where you'd ever feel so held and so safe and so looked after and so loved.
I feel like there's something for everybody to hear.
But what really differentiates this event is there is a huge element of love.
I've met people that I would never otherwise have perhaps connected with in business from loads of different walks of life.
There is so much that big brands and corporates can learn from the flexibility and the tenacity and the energy of young and startup businesses. Similarly, there is so much that small and startup businesses can learn from big brands, and it's my job to pull everybody together.
The ways I feel supported by Be Inspired, and in particular the Fly Anyway Foundation, is it's given me hope that I can actually achieve the visions that I have for myself in the future, such as having my own community interest company and actually having the business aid to make that happen.
You're talking about such amazing things that help you as a person and as a business in a way that doesn't feel gross.
The foundation's been amazing because it's hooked me up with people I never would have known about. I'm just off to this perfect start. From humble beginnings, where we were struggling to sell like 75 tickets, we are now selling out time and time again. Over 250 delegates, all energized, engaged, hungry for growth, entrepreneurs wanted to show up, wise up and rise up. We are putting Be Inspired on the map here in the northwest of England as the place to come and collaborate, to network, to listen, to grow, to learn, and then to take action, as well as enjoying the journey together. We want you to come and get involved. Whether you are a part of the audience or indeed becoming one of our exhibitors or sponsors, this is definitely something you do not want to miss.
Good morning. Do you know what? He's chosen now to stand there with his electric toothbrush on, like brushing away. All I can hear is, good morning. Welcome to the Short Wise Up Rise Up show with me, your host, Danny Wallace. I have a half-baked face this morning. I thought, do you know what? I'll have a little glow up just before I speak to you all. Please forgive the state of this happening right here. You can see we've got our signage that's, well, it says normal signage. I did apologise for this on Monday. Oh, it's bloody fallen now, hasn't it? Normally, I have a big bee behind me. And we left her at Old Trafford when we were there for Be Inspired. She's very much a part of the show. And we left her there. And now I've got that, but it won't bloody well stick up. So this half term, we've had a bit of a clear through. We've had a bit of a tidy up. And yesterday was a bit of an all hands on deck situation. Look, there we are. There's the shit weather map. Tell us what the weather's doing where you are in the world. Let's make it like the morning show that it was always destined to be, my fake telly show on Facebook, despite the set issues that we're having this morning. Good morning. That wall would be fab painted yellow. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind, Nick Davis. However, this is my bedroom, and I don't really want, don't get me wrong, you know I love yellow and black. You know that I eat, live and breathe my branding. But I just feel like, my bedroom needs to be a little bit separate. And we've just been waiting to be at a point where we can convert the garage downstairs. We've got a double garage when we moved house. And that double garage, it was always the plan to turn that into like a real IATQB HQ. where we'll have like workshop space and all of that sort of stuff. We'll have storage space for all of the Be Inspired stuff, like proper merch store in there. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm a bit loath to over egg it here until we've got that sorted downstairs, and then in here can be an oasis of calm instead of a hive of activity for all of the wrong reasons in my bedroom, which is not what you would want me to say, I guess, on a Wednesday morning. But welcome to Wise Up Wednesday with me, your host, Danny Wallace. I hope you're feeling good today. On a Wednesday, what we tend to do as a community is we check in and learn together a little bit. So on a Monday, we set our intentions together. So I was talking to you this week about the fact that the doors to the Be Heard Be Inspired Mastermind and the Be Heard programs are open for this week. It's one of the 2 times a year that you can actually seize an opportunity to work with me directly. So if anybody has been wanting to come and work with me, now's your time to be having a conversation with me, because the doors are open till we close them again for another 6 months. And the only way to work with me outside of that is to be on the VIP packages. So my intention this week is to fill up our mastermind. We are halfway there. It's only Wednesday, which is crazy. Lots of people sort of moot it out through the week and have a little look and what have you. And then on Friday tends to be everyone else sort of jumping off the fence. And it's been really interesting, this launch. In fact, I've put a post up about it this morning on Facebook, how very, very interesting this particular launch has been. And I don't know if it's because we are working at another level now. I don't know if it's because we've got more traction now, but more men than ever before have got into my inbox to have conversations with me. We now have 3 men on this cohort. It's more than ever before that I've had conversations with guys, people from different genders, other marginalized genders, women, non-binary people. Like, it feels like we're starting to break out of that, which is what I want. I want to break out of that women's event, because Be Inspired is not a women's event. Be Inspired is an event. I think actually Christelle, who we've got on the show this morning, puts it beautifully in our promo video. It's not a women's event. It's an event for people who want to make a difference. It's for themselves or for their businesses or for the world. And to see that lots of different types of people now are coming forward and saying, hey, Dan, actually, you're going to be the safe pair of hands that's going to teach me how to make a difference in the world, for me is a huge, huge honor. So in fact, without further ado, I think I might bring our first guest on. I've got 2 delicious guests, possibly 3, to talk this morning to y'all about how speaking specifically has changed the game for them. So Crystal, are you there?
Hello.
Good morning, sausage. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I am good. It's been a very interesting week this week.
Go on.
Given that the amount of different types of people that have been coming through for this particular cohort of Be Inspired. And I think, Christelle, it's in no small part to you allowing yourself to come forward onto one of my lineups and allow yourself to be seen and to be heard. And what I mean by that is that because you are so intensely proud of who it is that you are, and so you are so inclusive in the way that you work out in the world, that's been a real shining light for a lot of people watching on, thinking, is Inspired even a space for me? So I want to kick things off by saying thank you. I think that by having you in my life and having you as a part of the mastermind this last time has really changed things up. That's really powerful.
That's super powerful. And I don't think I think it's been mutual, hasn't it? How we've both been able to give quite a lot to each other over years.
Yeah.
So meeting each other like quite a while ago now, and kind of being on that journey together of knowing that we've got like stories that are not quite ready, but they're coming, and finding myself and being comfortable in myself, and then coming together, for Be Inspired this year. I think it's been like a real journey of both of us together.
Yeah, and do you know what's brilliant about the community that we've created here at IATQB is that lots of people have been watching what I've been doing for quite some time. I've been friends with lots of people in the online space. We were lucky. We met in the online space and then we became friends in the offline space anyway. And we've worked together in lots of different capacities over the course of 5-6 years now.
Yeah.
But let's speak about speaking. Let's talk about talking, because that's what I want to share this morning. The power of unlocking that superpower hidden in plain sight, your voice, which, Christelle, is a journey that you've been on for some time, something that we've been working intensely on for the past 4 or 5 months. Talk to us about that for you. How are things changing now? You've been through this process. What's this process brought to the table for you in speaking?
It's changed massively, and I think throughout the process, even up to sitting in the back room, kind of just gathering myself before going onto stage, there was a huge sense of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And on many levels as well. So imposter syndrome in that my business, there are other people way further on than me in my business. And then imposter being in the community and being in the LGBTQIA plus community, there's a lot of imposter syndrome there as well. So like by erasure and being trans non-binary, am I trans enough? Am I queer enough? Is my business big enough? And then, so fighting all of those dragons, and then speaking on stage, like, is anybody here going to want to listen to what I've got to say? And that's huge. And I think that has been my biggest lesson. I was speaking to Alex over the weekend, and I think the biggest lesson I have learned is my audience are there.
So we're saying, so Alex Lynham from Beyond the Binary, who's actually on this newest cohort, so they've decided to come and join in this time as part of the mastermind, and they were an exhibitor previously. And I think what was beautiful, and one of the beautiful things and magical things about Be Inspired, the event itself, is the connections that you make, not just in the run-up, not just as part of the cohort, not just as part of the mastermind, but actually in the room. There is some real magic, and we can see Kirsty Marshall's just backstage. She's going to be coming to have a conversation in just a few minutes, and she's nodding away like this, because I think that I can't think of a better word other than magic.
Truly, yeah, absolutely. And I think that event and the day after, so I spoke on the end of day 1. So the day after, when people approached me, all people approached me were like, that really hit home, and like segments of what I was talking about hit for them. So there's quite a lot that you go through, right? When you're speaking, you're not speaking of one thing or topic in isolation. It's just like why this is important to me and how I've got here and where we're going with this. And there's so much more to a thing you're talking about. And the amount of people that could approach me and say, well, this really spoke to me, or that really spoke to me, was super powerful. And it really hits home that you don't have to be a finished product to give value to your audience and for your audience to take value from you. It's not about being perfect or finished or complete. It's about, these are the struggles that I have faced or am facing. These are the ways that I've come through that. And this is how I'd like to work moving forward and help other people that might be able to see my experience, see themselves in my experiences. And I think that was incredibly powerful for me. And that's been my biggest take home is, like, there's a lot of people that feel exactly like we do.
Yeah, and I think that you having that experience in one sense has been a huge part of your growth, is to see actually, because I just want to tell everybody, Christelle's talk was a showstopper, and so I curate the lineup to make sure that the energy is curated through the day. Part of my job as a producer is to make sure that people's energy are managed. So high energy in the day, more informative talks a little bit later on when everyone's a bit waking up, and finishing the day out really strong. And I knew that Christelle was going to close out the day. I mean, your talk is all about strength, right? Is about understanding the concept of strength. What even is that? Is it flashing the guns? I mean, you're a PT, right?
Yep.
And is it all about flashing the guns and picking up heavy weights, or is it more intrinsic than that? Is it more is it deeper than that? And I think that one of the reasons why your talk landed so strongly with every single person unequivocally throughout that room was that you, in your strength, got them to tap into all of the different types of strength that they could do. And so what happened was you had this growth journey as somebody who's taking up space, even more space in the queer community, actually becoming a light for other people who are in the queer community and in the allyship community as well, to give them more of an understanding about what it means to be non-binary, what that means, helping them. You know, it was such an education for a lot of people in that room to understand like how we're working with pronouns and what have you. And it's such a, brave is the wrong word, because brave is like, for me, always, I was talking to someone on a podcast yesterday about brave equating to struggle. And yes, there's a degree of struggle when you are in a marginalized gender or in a marginalized anything. But it was just the taking up of space. It's like audacia. It's like, I'm here. I'm just here. And that's what here is. It's just here. And you're there and I'm here. And everyone saw that. And that was really pivotal for a lot of people in the room. So you had the power from you taking up space on the stage, but they had this experience with you where they didn't really recognize before. They had this strength or this understanding or this open of mind or this new world really that was opened up to them. You powerful bugger, you.
Oh, that was so fun. It was so fun, wasn't it?
You came off the stage and just jumped on you.
And when I came off stage, I hugged you and then I hugged Lindsay, the stage manager.
Yes.
And while I was like still shaking and still full of adrenaline and like, she said how powerful it was to see representation, and that representation not be the purpose of representing.
Right.
So representing, but that's not all I'm here for. And that's not, you know, actually I'm representing, but I'm also, you know, that's not the key purpose. Yeah, that's it. I'm living, I'm experiencing, I'm going through this, but with that, this is how we can still, you know, be speaking on stage, be inspired.
And I think that part of the conversations that we had in the training of this, in the creation of this, and in the journey of getting you to stage was that this isn't about, and Be Inspired isn't about having tokenism. It's just about saying our arms are open wide for everyone. And I think this is why there's been a dynamic change now in the people that are approaching for, I want to get involved in this. And I think that, you know, it's a huge, when you start to open your arms out and share, you know, hey, this is a safe space. We're not going to get things perfect, but we're going to learn together and we're going to hold together. I think that and that not to be the point. It's not about standing on the stage and saying, oh, I'm a survivor, or I'm a Black person, or I'm a gay person, or I'm a non-binary person. It's just, I'm a person, I've got this lived experience, but I'm here with all of you. And I think I think this is something that we are really driving towards now. And I couldn't be more grateful to have been able to link arms with you and share your energy with that audience who just needed you at the end of the day. I think we all needed each other at the end of the day. There were tears, there were hugs. It was so powerful. So tell me, you've been through this process now, and you know that speaking is definitely a calling for you. Like, what are the next steps? It was smiling because you was like, I knew it was there, didn't realize it was there, found it was there. There's this fire now. Like, what's happening for you next? What are your thoughts? Because you've had a lot of processing to do, right?
There's been so much processing. And I have always, and it has been a long process to come to Be Inspired as well. So I have always known that I've always, like I said in the talk, I've always been an advocate. I've always been someone who wants to use that voice for the powers of good.
Yeah.
So what's next? So what's next is I live in York, and next for me and moving forward, my ambition is creating safe spaces within the fitness industry for my community, LGBTQIA plus community, and really kind of elbowing our way into that fitness industry that has been made for and by cis men, and kind of creating that ripple effect that creates a safe space throughout the industry. And, you know, the world's our oyster, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is, if we think about the knock-on effect from that, not just from a health perspective, but from a mental health perspective, from an inclusion perspective, from a, dare we say it, boys don't get scared, dismantling of the patriarchy perspective, like all of it, that you found that strength in you, our audience have seen that strength in themselves and have started to bring themselves to the table. Like, that's just a little bit. That's just a now job. Like, I am so excited for all of the next bits for you. How do people find out about your work, my angel? Because you'll need to stop what you're doing after the show and go and follow my incredible friend. Tell us what we're doing.
Follow me on Instagram. That's probably where I share everything. Like, I pull everything together. Facebook's like the person in the business, whereas Instagram's me and the business, really.
Yeah, you're experiencing kind of you as a whole, like your whole journey in creating your own community and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next years, we're going to be looking at funding and seeing what we can tap into in terms of resources from the government for our communities and kind of push that forward. So yeah, definitely come and watch and be a part of it.
Everybody come and get behind it. It is the Body Institute on the Instagram. Go and find it. We'll pop some links on as well. Christelle, it's been an honor, a pleasure to share the journey with you. If anyone's thinking about being inspired, what are you saying to them?
If you're thinking about it and you can picture yourself on that stage already, this is the thing for you. You know, even if it's been a fleeting thought that you need to be going through this process, then absolutely. And the growth that I've experienced on a personal level, that can feed into the work that I'm doing moving forward, knowing that what I'm saying needs to be heard and it matters and the people I'm speaking for need me, that is immeasurable, and you need to have a chat with Danny.
I love you so much. Thank you for your time this morning, my darling.
Love you,
That
mate.
is the incredible Christelle from the Body Institute. Please do go and follow them over on the Instagram. Their content is such brilliant, wholesome, incredible stuff to be going and consuming if you are a consumer of social media, but also it's super inspirational as well from a health, a mind and a body perspective. Go and follow them right now. I have another friend to share with you this morning who is going to share their experience of being inspired, because again, throughout of the previous cohort, they've all had different experiences. And this is another different experience to share with you. So Kirsten Marshall, get on up in here for a cuddle. Hello, you magical woman, you. Hello.
Hello, hello. How are you?
I am really, really good. And when I say magical, when me and Kirsten first met, we met at the previous Be Inspired, March's Be Inspired. You came along as a guest. And I remember having a conversation with you directly after and saying, you're just magic. I feel magic coming from you. And everyone got to experience that in September. Hang on one second. I'm being mummied. Hello, I'm live.
How much longer until Nanny and Grandad?
11 o'clock. Go and jump out.
How much longer?
I don't know.
Get
out.
I'm trying to.
Oh, it's half term, Kirsten. It's half term. Shut the door, mate. She's just come in. She's got a baseball cap on. She's carrying a black bag full of I don't know what on her back. She looks like one of the dwarves ready to go off to work for Snow White.
Love her.
Bless her.
Brilliant.
She's also quite a part of the mastermind, isn't she? She always pops her head in and
yes.
says goodnight to everybody.
Yeah, love that.
Kirsten, hello, my angel. Thank you for joining me this morning, my magical friend. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I am a coach and mentor, and I work with people that are stuck and looking to get to the next stage in their career or the next stage in their business. That, in a nutshell, is what I do.
Amazing. And when you came to Be Inspired in March, and it had been a funny old week because we had a last minute venue change. We had to move a sold out event from one venue to another venue. And it's not normally how I would do things. Normally we was formerly at the Impossible, the Theatre Impossible, and that's where I was expecting to host everybody. We ended up in this bar. It was a completely different experience than what the other Be Inspired have been, but it was fun nevertheless. But what was your experience of the event itself as a delegate, as somebody who's just coming along, not really having had a lot of contact with me before? Like, what was your experience there?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. It was one of those experiences where you're so immersed in it at the time, and you get so involved in it that when you leave the venue and you go outside, you almost forget that everyday life is still going on outside. It's like that feeling of, when you've been out clubbing and you sort of come out and you go, oh, hang on, there's a world out here.
There's a whole life out here.
It's like that when you leave Be Inspired. It was just incredible. I was so taken by the atmosphere in there, by everybody getting up on stage, the variety of talks, and you learn something from every single talk. And
Right.
and then the people that you find yourself sat with and chatting to those people, and it was just incredible. I was taken away by the whole thing.
And then afterwards, you and I had a conversation. What drove you to book in that conversation with me?
I just thought, I want to work with this person. I just thought, right, she's amazing. I want to work with her. Let's get a call booked in. That was it. I wanted to work with you. I wanted to be in your world.
And you were a little bit unsure though. So you knew that you wanted to work with me. A lot of people feel like this. They'll be following me for some time, maybe on Instagram or on LinkedIn or over here on Facebook. And they'll go, I just want to be, in Danny's world. I want to be a part of the community. I want to work with her in some way, shape or form. And for you, when you first started working with me, you didn't have all of the things together like a lot of people like to have before they embark on I'm going to become a speaker. I've got my thing already sorted. I know what my thing is. But you started from a very different position than some folks out there who might be considering this. And the reason why I'm really grateful to speak to you today is that actually, and this is one of the reasons why I think you wanted to speak to people today, because you actually said to me, Danny, you need to interview me. I want to speak to everybody about this experience that I've had. Because you weren't in that done position to start to work with me, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I wasn't done at all. I didn't have a thing. I hadn't sort of created exactly how I wanted to work with people. I knew that I wanted to work with you, and I basically wanted to give myself a bit of a kick. I wanted to give myself a very loving and supported, but very huge kick. That was it, basically. And Be Inspired, I couldn't think of a better way to give myself a loving and supported, huge.
A big
yeah, exactly. Because I've been talking about what I wanted to do for years. I've been talking about it for years, but I was very, very comfortable doing what I was already doing. I've got a great corporate job. I love my job. There's no issue there. So I was very comfortable, but I had this vision and this passion and this desire, but I just wasn't quite taking the steps to go there.
Yeah.
And I saw Be Inspired when you and I spoke. I then suddenly thought, oh, hang on a second. This is it. This is the way to do it.
Yeah.
So I jumped in.
And it gives you that end point, doesn't it? So if it's messaging that you wanted to be working on, so some people will come onto the mastermind, and this is another beautiful thing about the people that are jumping in this time, is that they're all at different stages, and very much the same for our previous cohort as well. And in case you'll attest to this, is that some people were at kind of like fruition. They knew what their skills were. They knew how they wanted to bring their businesses into the world. They just needed to get their messaging correct. And then other people were already done, dusted, sorted. They just wanted to tighten up the nuts and bolts. And I think the beauty of bringing people together at those different stages means that everybody gets pulled along. There's this freshness from the people that are exploring things for the first time, plus the sageness and the wisdom that comes from people who already kind of know their beans. And I think that there's this brilliant exchange that happens as part of this. But having that end point, having the event where at the end of all of this, you've got to get on that stage and say your thing. It means that you have to do the work. You can't not do the work. And I think a lot of people get lost in the melee of doing course after course after course, or working with messaging coaches, or la 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 la. Whereas actually, you've got no fucking choice at the end of this. You've got to get up on that stage and then tell people what it is that you do, right?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's exactly it, and that's exactly what I wanted. Something that I couldn't put off or run away from, or sort of swerve around. That's it. Come what may, I'm going to be on that stage.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I've got to do it. And that was the kick that I know that I needed. That was the kick that I wanted.
And did you have any fears about that, either before you decided to jump in or even afterwards? Were there any sort of wobbles that you had, or things that you really needed to consider before you did come to work with me? Because even though it was like, I just want to be in Danny's world and want to work with her, know that she's going to be a safe pair of hands, she's going to kick me up the backside in a really loving way, I'm not horrible. She's not a knobhead, I'm not a knobhead, we have this no knobheads clause between us. Like, were there any fears that you had prior to coming to work with me, and even in the run-up?
Yeah, there were loads. I mean, all of them. So have I really got anything to say that anyone's going to want to hear? And I know Christelle was just saying something similar, Yeah, everyone assumes no one wants to hear what they've got to say. So yeah, I absolutely had that. Do I have anything that anybody wants to say? I'm not far along in my journey. I don't even really have a business to speak of yet. I've not sort of created it into a business yet. So who am I? The old imposter syndrome that again Christelle was talking about. Who am I to get up on that stage? And what if I can't? What if I just get too nervous and too scared and I just can't get up there? So yeah, I had all of those and more. I mean, it was there was a whole load. They were just coming in waves.
And what was beautiful is actually that when you got to the stage, and as I said this, we had our feedback one-to-one the other day, is that you were such a safe pair of hands. Like when I look at different speaker lineups and different speakers, there's lots of different energies that people bring to the stage. And again, it's what I was saying about, programming where Christelle was concerned. Programming is really important to me. Managing the energy of between 250 and 500 people in a room is really important. Like, we've got to make sure that the energy is managed so that people can stay awake. And that's nothing to do with the quality of speaker and everything to do with managing energy. That having a safe pair of hands is really important. So some people think that when you're a speaker, you've got to be super jazz hands and you've got to be super like extrovert and over the top and what have you. And actually having a solid energy was really important. And I think that I discovered that about you as a speaker. Did you discover that about yourself as a speaker? Did you realize that that was the kind of speaker that you were going to be?
No, I had no idea. I had no idea that was the kind of speaker I was going to be. It was really weird, that happened. And as I was practicing my speech, as it sort of started to develop and started to come through, and I was sort of thinking, Craigie, who is this person? This isn't what I thought, because I thought I'd be a bit all over the place, and that's just not how it happened at all. So yeah, it was really interesting. I learned a lot about myself on this journey a lot, and I didn't think that would happen because I've done a lot of inner work, you know, so I didn't think there was much more to find out about myself.
Do you know what? We always do it to ourselves, don't we? We kind of go on these journeys of self-discovery or healing or whatever it is, and then we realize, oh, I didn't even know that about me yet. Or I maybe knew it a little bit, but I didn't ever put it under the microscope for long enough for me to be able to see that there's a superpower hidden in there, or there's something that I can use in my sort of wider life. So what sort of things did you learn about yourself?
Oh, what did I learn about myself? So quite an interesting one. One of the biggest ones was learning about how I interact with other people. I've always known a little bit that I like to hang back and sort of get a feel for people before I engage, and I have been like that for a long time. But I kind of realised that I do that more than I was aware. I sort of to the point where I almost exclude myself. And then I think, oh, look at everybody else with all of their amazing relationships, and I want to be in there, and I want to be part of that. And I sort of realised that I was excluding myself.
Right.
And the beautiful thing that happened with Be Inspired is that as soon as I did realise that and start to engage with people, I was welcomed with open arms, and that was just incredible. And that has been a game changer for me, because previously I would shy away from going to events and chatting to people and the whole networking, and I just thought, oh, I hate that, I can't bear it. Following Be Inspired, I'm like, yeah, bring it on. When's the next one? I can't wait.
I go to all of the events and talk to all of the
yeah.
And how funny, and it doesn't matter how many times we do this launch or run this mastermind, that I say to people, do you know what? The speaking is almost the icing on the cake for a lot of things. That yes, people will say, right, Danny, I need a speaking coach. People have found me this time. They've been putting the search on LinkedIn, speaking coach, finding me, and then having a conversation with me. And then actually, when I say to them, the speaking is actually like, if we think about a cake, it is the cake topper and the icing and the glitter and the beautiful decoration. But actually, the work that you do underneath enables you to be a great speaker. So understanding your message. I think one of the brilliant things for you is understanding that there's a system by which you can hang your hat on now as a coach and mentor, understanding the bits of coaching and mentoring that you really want to hold as your area of expertise. And then you're able to speak on them. So the speaking just happens then. And no wonder you're a safe pair of hands, because you identify so intrinsically with what it is that you're saying. Yeah. And I think that's the important work, the bit that where you see yourself, where you see where you fit in the world, and then have this sort of safe environment for you to dip your toe in and say these things out loud. And I think the most beautiful thing about working with you, Kirsten, is that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's about creating really solid foundations that you then speak upon, you know, because sometimes our foundations, although they might be solid, to us they can feel a little bit wobbly, because, you know, we sort of we're the ones saying, yeah, but what about that? And what about that? And what about that? Yeah. It makes the foundations wobbly. Whereas Be Inspired, you come in and you create those solid foundations so that you can then speak on those beautifully. And that's exactly what happened, you know, and I created my whole system, my whole way of working with people. I created that because of Be Inspired. Wow. I would not have got there had I not been going through this process and having that end goal, you know, having that stage that I was going to be on, and sort of going through this whole thing. I wouldn't have created it had it not been for that.
And I'm smiling and my cheeks are hurting, because I know, and it's really... It's emotional for me as a coach and for me as a mentor to see this happen time and time again. And always because I try and build this community, and everything that we build in this sort of we all do well when we all do well, I always find it not uncomfortable, but strange when we start to share this with the world. And I know this is why you was like, Danny, get me on the bloody show. I want to talk to people about this. Why are we not telling people more about this? But it always makes me feel like, oh God, this is actually the change that we're making. And I'm so grateful that you're here to share that with everybody today. Because I know through the conversations that I've had just this week that there are lots of people that will be sat on the fence thinking that they're not ready to do this. And it might not even be from a financial point of view, which I understand for a lot of people. And for anybody that's listening, if finances are a barrier to doing this, please do come and have a conversation with me, because we've got lots of payment plans that we can set up for you to make it as easy as possible. But if someone's out there and they're feeling not ready from a, can I even work with Danny Wallace? That feels weird saying that out of my mouth, because some people get on the call, they go, oh my God, am I going to speak to Danny Wallace? I'm like, I have to tell them I'm not famous. What would you say to those people?
Oh my goodness, I was that person, right? I was that person where I told myself that I wasn't ready. But what I would say is, oh my goodness, do it. Do it, do it. It is without doubt the best thing that I've ever done. And I can't remember who said it, but there's a quote, something along the lines of, if your dreams are not big, if your dreams are not scaring you, then they're not big enough. And it's so true. Jump in, do the thing, because you won't regret it. It is life-changing, without doubt.
Oh, Kirsten, I am so grateful for you coming on the show this morning and sharing your experience. One of the most beautiful things about my job is that it's funny. There was a quote, I think it was our Karen Dawkins popped it out the other day. Something about being friends seldom become clients, but if you do your work right, clients often become friends. And I feel like that's so very genuinely what happens as a part of this process, that we end up as a family, we end up as a support network for each other, and there's nobody else that understands it other than the people that have been on the inside of each individual cohort. And I just get a whole bunch of friends for life as well. It's very selfish, the work that I do. I just want everybody in my Pokemon ball. So it changes my life just as much as it changes everybody else that gets involved with it. So Kirsten Marshall, I am so excited for all of the things that you're going to create when you are launching, when you are putting your services out into the world. Please will you come back on the show so that we can share you even more with this incredible community?
I will. I will. I can't wait. Yes, super excited. There's lots coming. I'm so excited.
And I cannot wait for all of that to catapult for you. Kirsten Marshall, I love you. I will see you soon.
Take care. Bye.
That was the incredible Kirsten Marshall. We also had Christelle that was from the Body Institute that was on just before, talking about their experience of how speaking has changed the game for them after being a part of the Be Inspired Mastermind. So doors are open till Friday. If anybody wants a conversation with me about coming into the mastermind, we've got some phenomenal people on this cohort, a mixture of lots of different types of people. There are lots of different stages in their journey. There are 10 spaces left and then we are sold out. So we're halfway there already. So if anybody wants to have a conversation with me and get on this cohort so you can be speaking with me at Be Inspired at Manchester United Stadium on the 30th and 31st of March and work with me for the next 6 months, please do get in my inbox or drop a little emoji and I will drop you a link so you can book in a little chat. There are lots of different payment plans available across all of the programs. So there's Be Heard that's available, which is our 8-week program. We start a week today. So Wednesday at 8 o'clock is when we kick off with Be Heard, the program. So if you just want to work with me for 8 weeks, I'll teach you everything I know about speaking. You can go off out into the world. We've had incredible TEDx speakers come off the back of that. We've had phenomenal businesses that have springboarded themselves in their industries off of the back of just Be Heard alone. Then please do have a look. imthequeenbee.co.uk/packages. All of the information is on there. All of the different packages are on there and also all of the different payment plans. Amy Blaney, Be Heard itself is the bomb. It absolutely is. I've given everything to making sure that you can learn as much as you possibly can about speaking so you can go and really implement it. It's not just one of those courses whereby you come and get involved, dip your toe in and do nothing with. You become a part of a wider community that's ready to help you show up, wise up and rise up. I hope you've enjoyed the show today. I'll be back maybe even a little bit later on. I'll do a little cheeky live a little bit later on, tell you what I'm getting up to over the course of half term. I hope it is being gentle on you. I will see you on Friday for more showing up, wising up and rising up.